Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I'm not Jarrett Crader.
But I am.
Yeah, look at us. And this is Not Cat Chats episode 3, where we talk about not cats, but mostly tabletop role-playing games. Jarrett, how you doing this morning? This afternoon?
It's time zones. I'm doing pretty all right thus far. It's a Friday in RPG land, and I'm here on the show with you two.
Nice. You got some stuff cooking right now.
We
over there,
do.
Space Penguin.
We do
always,
a lot.
Always cooking.
A lot.
Always cooking.
Do we want to talk about it?
I know.
Nah,
I don't think so. No.
nah.
Let's talk about
No.
something else, actually.
Anything but
for a second
that.
for a second there, I realized we were like in the show. It's like one of those where you're just like, where you're watching a horror movie, and then all of a sudden, and in the horror movie, you're watching the person, the protag is watching a TV or some video monitor, right? And then it flickers really quick, and then whatever they're watching flickers to like a POV camera over their shoulder of them watching TV, and I was just like, that's where I was at for just a second, for a split second.
There you go.
I feel like
Old Inception,
So, the lowest hanging fruit. What's about to fulfill right now? What we got coming up?
What's up?
Coming down
What's
the
up
pipeline.
with fulfillment? It feels like we're on the show. I like it. We got the map. Let's see if this messes with the camera. We got the maps in for Forbidden Psalm. So I don't know how many people here. I'll hold it up and try to talk around at the microphone. I don't know how many people are familiar with highway maps. I know that that's a thing that's not like a common thing these days. Did it really do it with the camera? It really did it with the high contrast. It's just this fancy camera. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, I'll put it down, camera. Don't die on us. Don't die.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
See, the camera's too fancy. It's too finicky.
That's
It's picky.
so
It's a
funny.
picky eater. You gotta get
so wild. Can you still hear me?
less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we can absolutely. So
Yeah.
podcast, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I love it. I love this camera. I really do. I really enjoy the camera.
Don't worry, we'll edit this out in post.
Right.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
I see. I figured it out. All I do is plug it, unplug it, and plug it back in, and then it'll
Boom.
work for a little while. And so
There we
we'll just
go.
have regularly scheduled blackouts.
There you go. Just give it the old in and out,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you fix things. There we go. Did it do it again? Seriously. Okay. Anyway, highway maps. Yay. I've got highways in my head. I'm actually currently working on a highway crawl. I think I mentioned to Ryan the other day that Uncanny Highway, I've discovered this is free promo for Uncanny Highway Blue Plate Special Edition. If y'all are looking to do a highway crawl of any sort, it's a fairly comprehensive toolkit for building a highway crawl on the Uncanny Highway, which is Route 28, which doesn't really exist, and you like generate up sections of like 100-mile sections of the road and all this other great stuff. Super great book. It's in PDF form right now, but I'm thinking that the creators, if they follow what they've done before, they will make it available POD. I'm highly suggesting it, and like as a person who works with a lot of RPG stuff and reads a lot of RPG stuff, it's really great when I stumble upon something out of left field that I wasn't even looking for, but then just gets me fired up to work. Anyway, highway maps. The paper that the Forbidden Psalm maps on is that nice thick stuff. It's even a tiny bit thicker than most of the free highway maps that you get, like with like when you pull into a rest stop and stuff like that, and you have that and it all folds out. I'm not going to open it again because the camera will get mad. But super cool map. I actually, if you're following on the Kickstarter page, I know a lot of your viewers, a lot of the viewers probably are. We posted some pictures. I put some minis and some of my 𝗏𝗧 terrain together yesterday afternoon to kind of play for it. So we're super stoked because there is a local game group called I can't remember the name. Damn it. I just met them. Turns out, speaking of UPS, turns out one of the folks who works at the UPS where I go to drop off our large package shipments and stuff like that, is one of the directors of a local area game group. And they have these quarterly meetups called Big Game Bash Live. And they're having one not this weekend, but next weekend. So we're going to take all of the essentially pre-release stuff for Forbidden Psalm, and we're gonna set up with my, like I said, my 𝗏𝗧 terrain and my badly painted miniatures, and we're gonna run Forbidden Psalm. Get this, in a church. Boom! I love it.
Boom.
I love
Sounds
it.
amazing.
I love it. It's gonna be great. But also somebody is actually they demo a lot of board games and stuff there too, and someone's running Shadows of Brimstone, so I get to play some Shadows of Brimstone, which I haven't played in a long time. Also a classic. It's not really an RPG, but there's like narrative elements to it. It's a good board game. Anyway, Forbidden Psalm is getting closer to fulfilling. We are waiting on the replacement pivot zine that should be coming. I know that Will got notification that his are shipping and should arrive next week, and then I just shipped him several boxes of these maps and several boxes of Dread Knights hardcover and softcover to fill out all of the add-ons. But by the way, go back in time and remind past me. You said you had a time machine earlier, Hunter.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mentioned.
Remind past me to not do so many damn add-ons on a crowdfund, or just brace for dealing with add-ons. It's a good time.
Yeah, you got it.
Good time.
I'll make a note.
Right. It's just also
We'll definitely
a note to
remind you
every...
for the next one, you know.
Yeah, exactly. No, Will and I have already talked about Endless World, about like limiting them. We want to make stuff available, but it's just the trick of it's the work, you know. It's listen, what is the show? Listen to Jarrett complain about work, but it's just a trick of making all of those spreadsheets make sense when you're importing it to whatever software you're using to interface with shipping services and stuff like that. In this case, like I say, with editing, less is more. You really do want to have all those books, because say you got someone who's new to the entire line of Forbidden Psalm, and they really want to get all this stuff because they really want to get it all at once and, you know, quote unquote, save on shipping. And at the same time, you're also dealing with like pick and pack. I mean, luckily, my wonderful partner, Debbie, picks and packs all of the orders because she won't let me touch the orders. And she really does seriously enjoy, like, maybe next time I'm on the show, we'll do Zoom from my phone, and we can talk about different parts of the or I can set the phone up on the tripod, and then I can just do it from in there. The audio quality might be a little bit crap because I have to be on Bluetooth, but
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
it would be kind of fun, because then we could, I mean, it's not really that exciting. It's really a bunch of boxes labeled up and stuff like that. You know, it's like I know some of my friends who run stores are just like, why are you giving away the secrets? And, you know, it really is just a bunch of boxes, but it's pretty neat getting to work with your best friend, and pretty neat being able to know what she wants to do with stuff, and then me, you know, accommodating that, because she's had, you know, X amount of years of experience working in retail and doing operations and backups. Like, it's what she does for a living. And then to recreate that, but she's in control of it, so it's a streamlined process, you know, as opposed to, we've all worked corporate jobs before, and, you know, there's always something, and you're just like, why the fuck are they doing this thing this way? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to see how the sausage is made. I think that'd be neat. Even if it's just a couple boxes. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to see all the bits and pieces of Space Penguin. You know, turn it around, lift off the tail, all that bit. You know.
Right. It's fun. It's So that's kind of where we're at with Forbidden Psalm, and then right before we started the call, Will smashed you guys with a sneak preview of Endless Horrors from Beyond the Stars.
It looks so cool.
All of the art. So I don't know if we've really talked about it, but I'm gonna spoil it. Haha, Will. Vil, Vil, if y'all don't know Vil, they do amazing art, and we've got his stuff in Dread Knights and all kinds of other stuff. And there's also a book called Skeletons with Vil and Eric that's going to come out sometime. That's another sneak promo. We're going to have a book of skeletons that's just going to be skeletons.
I love it.
But anyway,
skeletons.
Vil has worked on with Will and done all the art for Endless Horrors, and I am super excited for Endless Horrors. Like it's gonna be so good.
Yeah, am I allowed to throw the cover up on screen
Sure,
here? Or no?
I think so. I think it's been kind of teased here a few places.
I think I saw it on the interweb somewhere. I mean, I've seen this before, and I feel like it was maybe Instagram. So we'll toss it over here and let this cover is fucking amazing. I love it so much. It's a
really good cover.
It's so good. Look at that. Oh. That's
For
great.
those of you who are listening and not watching,
no, they don't get it. They don't know. Okay,
you should go to the YouTube. It's like it's a woman crying blood. It looks like Mary, the Mother of God, and there's tentacles all around her, and there's this shining white light behind her. It's a fantastic piece. It is just as creepy as I would want a Forbidden Psalms cover to be.
Yeah. I love the Forbidden Psalm.
I keep saying Beyond the Stars, and it's Between the Stars. It's because I haven't opened the package and started the editing on it yet, so I'm not. Fire me, I'm the editor. It's fine.
Beyond, Between, it's there. It's their stars. I love the font that the Forbidden Psalm is done in. It's like fire, but it's that like old style fire. I don't know if people know what I'm talking about, like when you would see it on like old parchment stuff, how they would draw it, and it looks really fantastic. It's very vibrant on the black and white drawing. It's dope. It's a very sick cover.
For those following along at home, this is some of my first chance to actually see this. I'm now scanning through this PDF. I've seen a lot of the art as it's been dropped, but usually part of, you were talking about how the sausage is made, usually Will goes full on demon on it for months, and then, or in his case, a month, and bang and so I see a lot of the art as it kind of trickles in, but I don't see it in context of what it's representing as far as the individual pages. I'm stoked for it too. It's heavy on the blacks. There's a lot of black and white and red. I think we've done another black, white, and red book. What do you know?
Hey, if it works.
That's my favorite color combo. But this thing it's beef. Am I allowed to say the page count on this thing?
Yeah. This is a rough page count. Go for it.
It's like 160 pages.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. The cool thing about it is you don't have to have it like a lot of the standalone sets. Like you don't have to, or the books or whatever you want to call it. They're not sets because we don't really have. But you can play Endless Horrors with Forbidden Psalm, but also if you're a gamer and you're like, no, I've got enough skirmish games where I have a 5 to 10 member war band and I do this and PvP blah blah blah. In this case, it's using the chassis underneath from FP, but your cultists are actually you're the cultists and you're trying to summon your Endless Horror from between the stars, right? So it's always to like generate that up and stuff, and then like I'm not going to give away too much of the spoilers. But it's a fun take. It's like you are the cultists who are bringing forth this thing that comes forward, right? And then there's like tables for generating up all of the thing, and the usual, artifacts, injuries, treasure rolls, and stuff like that. So, and then this one's going to be simpler as far as like stretch goals and add-ons. We're dialing this one back just a little bit,
Nice.
mostly in the interest of repeatable process. When you know what you're doing and you know how to do it, and specifically, like, we know which printer we're using. We're using Mixam, and a lot of folks are just like, oh, it's not as expensive, and it's not inexpensive, and you're leaving more money on the table. And our trick is we want to get cool stuff into the world. Like this stuff, like when Will starts working on it, he just kind of goes wild on it and just like boom, 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 and the thing is done. And like for someone like me who loves to edit and loves to just get in there, like it's great to have, several times a year, it's like, here's this big ass pile of stuff to do, right? And then I'm just like, boom, and then I can jump into it. So no, it's really great working with Will and getting these out. So
I'm always so impressed with how good each of the Forbidden Psalms is, like, in their own way, and it's an extension of like that Merkborg that I still am very, very like into. I'm kind of not doing a lot of Borg stuff anymore. Forbidden Psalms has just become so its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still love the last one. Like I still think that one is just like, oh God, I love that one. But I'm super stoked for this. I love the idea of like being the cultist summoning the dark thing instead of being the heroes fighting the cultist summoning the dark thing.
Right.
So sick.
There's a little bit of Last War news. I don't know if we've mentioned it on the show before, but there is Will has worked a deal with War Games Atlantic, and I don't know if you all know WGA, but they do ranges of miniatures of all kinds of stuff, and they had a World War I Weird War range. I'm not even completely familiar with their entire product catalog, but I will be, I promise. And we're partnered with them to do a boxed set, so it'll have a bunch of their sprues in there, and then a revamped version of the Last War. It'll be the first place to get it will be in the boxed set from them. We're going to then at a later time put out that revised and expanded Last War, and that will include the Trenchcoats and Trenchcats expansion that we did back when we did the Kickstarter for that one, that we put on newspaper, which was really super great fun and awesome. And wonderful to learn how to work with the printing on newsprint, but very, 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 very different than printing normal books, quote unquote. But it was still pretty fun, and Ryan's digging for it. Ryan's got it. There it is. The Night Bastion, Trenchcoats and Trenchcats. So yeah, all of that has been reworked from those tabloid size newspaper and has been worked into added pages in the book. And then just the general rules cleanup. Like that's the trick with every iteration of Forbidden Psalm is we're always taking into account player feedback and user stuff, and we incorporate that into the next iteration, whether it's like the End Times edition, or it's Dread Knights, or kill sample process, stuff like that. We're always trying to sharpen it up, mostly because we realize different readers read things differently and interpret things differently, and our eventual goal is to try to get most of you're never going to say a sentence the exact way so that every single person understands, but we are always improving how we deliver rules and mechanics and stuff like that. So
we always appreciate that Space Penguin process, the constant tweaks of improvement.
Yeah.
And one thing that Hunter said before is something that is just always fascinates me with Forbidden Psalm and you guys putting out like monthly stuff where it's all good. Like I can't put out a single thing for years of trying, and somehow Kevin and somehow can drop good looking, good quality, like well done, like interesting content like every month, and it's just it's crazy how it continues to keep coming out, and then still we can get something like this, like Between the Stars and stuff on top of it. So it's just crazy how much how creative and just the ability to sit down and actually do that and do it well is really a boon for them.
One last thing on that, just as far as like teasing fun stuff for the future, I think if people are on the Discord server, they know about Project Mara, which originally was intended as it was going to be skirmish miniaturing mothership. But we've realized, like, as you said, this is going into year 4 of working with this rule set specifically, and it's been refined and refined and refined so that chassis underneath pretty much works, but it's never. It was a great compliment. I think Hunter, you said it when it's like, or maybe both of you said it in different ways, but it's never a simple reskinning. I know a lot of times when people reskin the rules chassis, they kind of do a Pokemon early palette swap where you just change the colors, so in this case you just change the name, where you're not actually taking the time to work with the rules underneath and make them actually sing for whatever genre you're attempting to emulate or era. And I think that's the one really great thing about Forbidden Psalm is now we're getting that chassis locked in underneath, so there will still be all of that added on there for Mara, the space one, but it's still going to be Forbidden Psalm. It's going to be its own thing. So that way, and we're not going to claim compatibility with Mothership unless there will be like a rules thing that'll come with it that, one will be, this will be like the rules, what do you call it? Clarification. Wow, words are just leaving me today. It's a Friday, right?
It is a Friday. That is very true.
It is.
Right.
No one can dispute that unless you're listening to this in the future.
Right.
You're talking about like a compatibility or
compatibility. There we go. Words.
Look at us.
When we're working towards that, we'll probably list out this one, if you want to make this work with your Mothership 20, or you want to make this one work with Death in Space, or you want to make this one work with my personal favorite, Classic Traveler, you know what I'm saying? So it's still going to be its own thing, and Project, Legitimate Salvage is the overarching name of it, and then there'll be Project Mara, and there'll be Project this, and other stuff. So that one's kind of teased, and a lot of people know about that one. And then also there's one that's near and dear to my heart, is the superheroes. It was really not that hard to twist Will's arm into doing superheroes, and then he's gonna like make me write it with him. So like I'm gonna have a lot of input with the character powers and archetypes and stuff like that. So I helped out developmentally on Christian Kessler's Long Shot City from Melsonian Arts Council.
Right.
And when CK was going through and building all of those powers, oh look, there it is too. Wow.
The big box.
I'm a little surprised you got that one, actually. It doesn't really seem like your genre.
Do you not really play supers?
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't. I'll be surprised if I ever play this, but it's Melsonian, so I own it.
Yeah, it's supers and it's good supers, and it comes from CK's love of supers and comics, and like I said, you know that I helped develop it and stuff like that, and so it's got a bunch of it's got my love of comic books and stuff in here in there too. So, and I'm super excited to do that same thing for. I'm a big HeroClix fan, as far as like I'm not a fan of the HeroClix rules. I've played them a few times and are just not my cuppa. But I love I love when HeroClix comes out with a new set, you know, I'll just be like, oh, cool. I want to get this version of Kitty Pryde or this version of Nightcrawler or whatever, you know. So
I'm more of a Mage Knight guy, you know.
Gotcha.
I have no idea what HeroClix is, so that's what Google's for.
It's a miniatures skirmish game.
Yeah.
That it's highly licensed and IP'd. With WizKids, was Watts, did WotC have something to do with it at one point? Maybe no.
I don't think so.
WizKids puts it out, but if you can think of a superhero team, you can probably get your superhero team in like whatever outfit was relevant to that particular time. And there's like, for instance, I'm not like a huge fan of the Batman or anything like that, but I once bought a lot of HeroClix on eBay, and it came with 17 different Batmans. And I was just like, okay. And there's like Adam West, the actor, as Batman with the red phone, right? And then there's like all different variations of Batman. There's Batman and Damian, and there's Batman and Dick, and Batman and Jason Todd, and different, you know, all the different Robins and stuff. So yeah.
So does the base click when it turns?
See, and yeah.
And they're heroes, so that's
good
naming convention that they did there.
Yeah, and then because it sprung. Mage Knight was first, right? I'm hoping somebody's watching us, and in the comments, it's just like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about, dude. And I'm like, I really don't. I just like the little cool sculpts because, like I said, I'm a huge Catherine Pryde fan. Like they're one of my favorite X-Men, as is Kurt. Like I love like I grew up on reading those. Learned to read on Claremont Byrne, you know, era type stuff. So I like being able to get those. I also have like a Jonah Hex over there on the shelf somewhere up there.
I've never really deep dived Jonah Hex, so
Palmiotti and Gray's Riders of the Worm and such is good, like more for more modern stuff, but not more modern stuff, more like mid-era. So like 90s, late 90s, early aughts. Now he's kind of he's in the normal DC universe, and it's just kind of like, I mean, it's the same thing with Swamp Thing. I don't know if you can see, but there's different kinds of Swamp Things up there. Like Swamp Thing is my fave, and
yeah, Swamp Thing's my favorite White Lantern, you know?
Right. See, and I don't even know anything about those lanterns stuff, like, because I don't know. I still collect comic books, but I just don't tend to read the mainstreamy shit.
Right.
So, but I'm not opposed to it. It's fun. If like there's the local library is having a book sale next weekend, and I'm hoping that they blow out copies of like, you know, beaten up and abused graphic novels that are just like, we can't put this on the shelf, it's falling apart, and I'll buy it for $2 because I love reading comics. I love that stuff. We totally blew our whole 25 plan to shit.
Oh god, the fact that we thought that we had a plan when we started was the funniest part of that plan.
I newe believed in that plan. Just to be clear, for everyone listening, I did not believe in this plan. I was just like, we're just going to talk about stuff as we do. So we did. Okay, we did Forbidden Psalms. Okay, that's where we were. Where are we now, y'all?
Now we can talk real quick about the Cairn box.
White box.
I have the Cairn white box. I put up pictures of this on the spiel the other day, and we'll hope that my camera, because I'm moving around, doesn't get reactive and trying to do it. But It's really sturdy and really heavy, you know, like when we put the weights up there, like this is the reason that we got it, because and the reason that it's taken us 3 weeks, you know, to get all of the shipping costs kind of like lowered as best we can, because it's heavy. There's a lot of stuff that goes in here. So we've got the lid, really nice sturdy lid. That doubles as a dice tray. I don't know if anybody does that. Does anybody use dice?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are no dice in here. Check out this. Okay, so I'm holding this in my hand and I'm pulling 5 perfect bound books, a zine, a character sheet pad, and a 5-panel GM screen. Like, it's heavy. Like, if I had one of those like tensionizers, I could tell you the force pounds of, you know, pulling this out. But like,
Just
this
guess. Is it like 50 pounds?
Sure, something like that. I have been testing this like repeatedly, like, and again, it's a prototype, but when it came with the ribbon, like, and that's our printers, Shanghai 3 Cats, put that ribbon in there. They were just like, oh yeah, you need this. And I think they did it in Justin's, because it's the same company that Justin at Severed Books used for the dark glinting with metal. So did it just freeze up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. There we go.
No,
It's back.
It's back. Okay. Maybe it's just sudden movements. My camera doesn't like sudden movements.
I think it's just trolling you, man.
Right. I think that's what it is.
But so it's in there. Like, I'm not gonna try to pull that off there, but the bead of adhesive that they use, it's nice and firm. So and it's nicely butted up against the side of the box, so it will cover the whole area and then be long enough that you can flip it back around. The next part's kind of boring, but it's cool to me. So white box sample of the Warden's Guide. It's a thick boy. 3 copies of the Player's Guide. All right, 1, 2, 3.
An amazing idea. Genuinely, such a like.
Oh yeah, a couple people. A couple of folks were just like, "Why?" And then I mean, like, the answer is, we wanted it at that table. Like, when 5e dropped, it was a way to get people back into playing. And there's always been Living Greyhawk and other public play initiatives from publishing companies. I understand that, but when 5e dropped, I started running and kind of grew the local game store. There was like maybe 5-7 players. I grew up to like 15 tables because we kept getting players back in. But one of the easiest things to do, and one of the ways that it worked well, was those folders, those character folders of the first couple seasons of Adventurers League, gave players a reason to come back, gave random people, oh, I've heard of this game, Dungeons and Dragons, I've never played it, or I've heard of this game, in this case, Cairn, but I've never played it. And one of the easiest things to do is, if you're willing to part with one of your books from your box set, which we're going to have copies of Player's Guide available later too, but you can give one of those copies out to that player and they can feel, I don't know, it's just something cool about getting something when you show up and randomly, because I mean, I'm a nerd and I get really nervous in a lot of social situations. You wouldn't think it, but I do. And one of the easiest ways to make me be like, okay, I understand, is to give me, like, something I can fidget with. And in the case of a book, like, it's even better because you've got all the shit you can read and everything else. So yeah, thanks for catching that. Like, I know it's not everyone's plan. I know everyone would probably be like, give us a different book, but we're just like, we want it to be kind of, for not really to force the number of players or anything like that, but we just want it to be inviting, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, three is a great number of people to have at the table, and to be able to like pass out one of those to every player so they don't have to like pass it around if they have a question and stuff like that is such a great thing to have.
I mean, last night I had this happen last night. We were playing Outcast Silver Raiders last night, and 2 of us had a rules question at the same time as the game master was running the game. And so we're like passing the book back and forth. So to not have to pass stuff back and forth and have your own little copy. Great idea.
Yeah. No, I love that about. Go ahead.
And no, you don't have to buy like if you wanted to buy a player's handbook for every one of your players, you're spending like $250 for 5e. You know what I mean? Versus this, where like for the same price, because it's all stretch goals, you're getting 3 in the same box. So it's a great deal just to be able to have multiples anyway. Because you could also be a psychopath like me and just like tuck one away and never touch it, and then have one to actually use if you want. So now you don't have to buy 2. You know, you'll get 3.
Well, Goodman Games does that. Joseph and all the stuff with DCC, just Road Crew and DCC Day and stuff like that. Like every year during Free RPG Day, you get a free. Well, it's DCC Day, you know, and on that end of it now, but you get the 12 pages or whatever it is of the character generation for 0 levels, and then in the back of that's a funnel, and those are like literally free. Like they're not free for him because he has to pay for them to print them, but they're free for people running at the game store. And like that's the thing that I would like to get to at some point for some of our line, you know, once we're making the sorts of money that where we can do that sort of thing. Like the first taste is free, getting people in the door and getting them wanting to sit down and play this game and engage with it, you know, like that's so yeah. So there's that character sheet pad, and these are some thick character sheets. We went higher on the GSM. Someone asked, you know, how many pages, and we're estimating 25 to 30 because it's kind of thick, and we want them to last. And then we've got another perfect bound for the stretch goal modules, the Amanda, Zedek, and Brad's adventures that are going to go in there. I get this one, correct binding, wrong direction. I think that came written from someone else. I think it's more of a sample of the it's another sample of the character sheet pad. Module Trouble in Twin Lakes, Saddle Stitchazine, right? This one's like already like done. It's like I'm so excited and ready to go. And then the thing that I don't really normally use, and I say I don't normally use, but I will use, and I'm trying to get used to it, is the 5-panel GM screen. So very similar in style to the one that people got with Mort Borg, and I'm sure that I don't have the Dolmenwood set, but I think that they did a screen like that in Dolmenwood. So it's nice and thick and sturdy, and it's going to have cool Bruno art on one side and cool everything else art on the other side, reference pages and tables and stuff. For the longest time, I've been like I don't do a screen. I just have piles of notebooks, but I'm getting ready to run that highway crawl, and I pulled out my Hammer Dog best screen in the universe and started putting in weather tables and CB radio handles and stuff like that you need when you're running a highway game, because players are going to be like, oh, I turned on the radio, and I have a pretty good volume of like 70s radio, like AM gold stuff that I can come up with off the top of my head. But if you just have a list of it on a page in front of you, because it's going to come up multiple times, you know. So
you have to get the Grand Theft Auto radio, you know, where it's
exactly
just like a totally psychotic, out of pocket talk show, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
You have to be that if you're running the game, right? Anyway, so there's the Cairn white box.
It's a thick boy. It's a thick boy. What's it? What's the how wide is it if you're sitting on the shelf?
Oh, do you mean this way, depth wise? We're looking at like 2.5, 2 3/4, almost 3 inches.
Yeah, just huge.
And 2.5. Yeah, it's almost 3 inches in depth. So
nice.
That's awesome. I'm very excited for that.
I mean, everyone I know says that's perfect. So
yep, it's like boyfriend sized.
Yeah.
9 and a little bit shy of a half, and then 6 and almost a half. So yeah, but it's cool. The printers, like I said, Shanghai guys, they did a nice job. There's enough room of the runner around it to
get it out.
wanted to pull up one of the two, three things, but then that ribbon just adds that level of utility. Like yeah.
It's funny how, like, kind of going back to, like, you guys slowly dialing in on stuff as you do it. Like, that's those are such small quality of life things. Like, I have box sets where they're like suctioned in, and I have to turn them upside down to get them to fall because there is no extra room. And there's not like that little space or a little ribbon for me to pull up on. Kind of goes along with like having the multiple player books. It's like, yeah, you can, it's all very utility based, like very, very utilitarian quality of life. Oh, Ryan's gonna do a thing. Ryan, what are you doing?
He's gonna look at it's got a thermoplastic. That's got a thermoplastic, and I would love to do a thermoplastic at some point someday. Like that's probably going to be in some of the board games. And that might be one of the dumbest, nerdiest things. I really want to do a thermoplastic. I really want to manufacture plastic. I don't personally want to manufacture plastic, but I want to see how that goes and how that works out with. It's gonna have to happen for the board game. Right now, I can see the 𝗡𝗄𝗧 prototype box staring at me over there, which we've talked about before. So that's kind of the Cairn update. We've got like a week left on the campaign, and then there'll be a couple of weeks in between there where you're waiting for all the pay-in and payouts and charging cards, and then the backer kit pledge manager will go up, and so that'll run through May and June. And then we're gonna do weekly updates, just because as we're going on process, like team logistics over here is we're mostly waiting on stuff from Team Creative, and Team Creative is chugging along and doing just fine. Like when we set out to do the whole thing, we set out a pretty good solid plan, and Adam, who's doing the layout and graphic design, literally asked right before we got on, was like, what's our hard date, how much, what breathing room do we have? And I was just like, this is, it's ever flexible when you work in a creative situation. You have to account for real life. Real life happens. Some of us have kids. Like I don't personally, but some do. Family, like depending on your age range, you might have people like getting married or being born or dying and all that shit. Like, and you have to factor in all that, sicknesses, illnesses, just everything. But I think we've done a pretty solid job with our timeline with keeping everything where we're at in check. And I know that Team Creative is, high as a writing machine and squeezing out the last bit, because it's one of those things you want to make your baby as perfect as possible before you send it out into the wild.
Of course.
So,
yeah. It's maybe my brain did not catch up with all the books in the thing. Because it's the Player's Guide, the Warden's Guide, then 3 copies of the Player's Guide. Is the printed adventure physical accounted for in that box too, or is that going to be another one on?
Yeah,
so there's six.
Trouble in Twin Lakes, which is the module that Yochai wrote. That is saddle stitch. That's zine style because it's a little bit smaller. And then the stretch goals that we're pretty close to, like we might hit the 175 stretch goal for the printed order, so I'm pretty sure we're solid for that.
$4 away.
$4 away.
Yeah,
okay. So that's some good time.
I haven't pulled up. I was gonna say it. Yeah.
Right. So with that, so that brings to a close like the last of our physical stretch goals, and then we want to get to the 200K mark, which, for those who have used Kickstarter before, you've got that bump at the end where you get, folks who've been thinking you'll see cancellations. You'll see people being like, oh shit, I can't tie up $30 or $55 or even $20. And it is what it is. Like I said, our goal the whole way is to push this box set, and we're going to have copies of the box set available later. Like that's, with that big, huge number makes it so much easier for us to put more copies of the books in the box, but also put more copies of the box into existence, like we're not kidding ourselves in saying that, oh, this is the only, we're going to be able to print enough. There isn't enough money, hopefully, to print enough to last us for years. But we wanted, if we as we're hitting these higher numbers, and it's making it better for us to put, more copies into the box and then print more boxes. Like, I just did the same thing, but backwards, I think. Mostly just reassuring folks that we will have physical copies of these in the future. That's not me saying like, go out and cancel all your pledges now. Like, that's me saying that the goal is to make sure that we have these things and that they are available. Some stuff is specific to the box, and that's the best way you can get it. But, all the tiers will be getting digital versions of all of this stuff. So
very cool. Yeah. I'm incredibly excited for this project, like to get this in hand. Like, Cairn's great. This box set's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. We're actually starting a Cairn campaign tonight at Debbie's request, because she and I primarily play board games together when we play, and our friends Dave and Heather are coming over, and we play a lot of board games. But we've only played RPGs a couple of times. And Debbie's like, I mean, if we're going to events and conventions, I got to know all of this about everything. And I was like, ooh, do you want to run? She was like, no, but she's going to watch me run first, and then maybe I'll get her into running her first campaign.
There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, and you hit 175. You're past it.
We're
gonna get printed in the box.
While we were talking.
I think 𝗖𝗫 is listening because he just posted up a screenshot of the score, the point of the total. There's the words. I got football on the mind. In our work chat. So
there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing you said, and the other thing with the having 3 copies of the book in the thing and being able to give it away too, it still really feels very Cairn to do that too. Not only is it good just as like a company and everything, but like Cairn, you had mentioned previously that accessibility into the game brings people back to the game, being able to hand out a book or have like a free thing or whatever. Like we talked about this last time on the show. Cairn's free, like digitally. You can it always has been and it always will be. And once again, encourage people to do stuff like that, because I mean, the Kickstarter now is at $175,000 for a game that you can get digitally for free. Like, people will still play your game and want your game if your game is accessible, and the more accessible it is, the more people have the opportunity to give you money for it. So it's really nice. I'm glad that is a philosophy that 𝗖𝗫 has always had, and again, having multiple copies of the book not only is good business, but like continuing that ethos is such a good idea as well. So it's neat to have that and be able to pass those out if you want them or want to.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I play so much DCC and run so much DC and make stuff with people for DCC, is just because like it's you go to a convention and you are there. And you got DCC. If you go to a show, you can get into a DCC game. Like, I'll personally run DCC for you if you can find me, and like somehow all of the games for the day are all tapped up. I'll be like, cool, we're playing Inferno Road, but we're playing Reverse Inferno Road. Now I got to think about what that entails.
I would have played Inferno Road so bad with like a huge room full of people at like different tables and shit. Like, that'd be so exciting. I think we talked about that a little bit, Jert, about like challenging other podcasts to Inferno Road, and like when they get kicked off their buggies, they actually get kicked onto another podcast. How they like jump into a Zoom window and stuff. That'd be so much fun to be able to multi-screen that.
I know Doug and Tom have run multiple user online games at like CyclopsCon and Bride of CyclopsCon or Son of CyclopsCon, where they each have their own room and then they kick people over to the other channel and stuff. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. You could be me at most conventions these days and just be old grouchy tired man because I wake up so early, and when I get a table I always get the last people that join up, like, and then I start launching them just as projectiles at other tables as soon as I can, just so I can avoid playing RPGs. Just kidding. I love playing RPGs. I just like being the spoiler. It's fun.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, we got to do that
What
at some
else
point.
do we want to? Oh,
we have to actually read through and talk about DCC at some point on the show. One day.
I would love to be a part of that if you ever want any sort of insights as to. It's like if you do a whole series, like if you do like a monthly series or a month-long series all about DCC, I'd love to guest. And I know a bunch of people who would love, like Stella, I bet would be on. See if we can get 𝗙𝗵𝗁𝗂𝗖𝗄 𝗖𝗵𝘁 on, all the crap, all the Snake Wolf. Gosh, the brain.
You want Sean?
Yeah. Talking about all of that stuff would be great.
Yeah.
What else?
If and when we ever do DCC, I feel like we're going to do more than one thing, and there's plenty of people that want us to do more than one thing. So we'll figure it out. We'll do it at some point, or we won't, and we'll just keep pissing laws off. But right. I think new stuff coming out. I was hoping that my box would be delivered. It is not yet, but I think the third part of the plan was the new stuff that's just dropping and the stuff that's dropping next, right?
I like how Hunter walked away, so we can't make fun of him to his face. Our plan is still sort of working. We're still 20, 25, 25. We're still
make fun of him behind his back. That's what I do.
He can hear us, I hope.
No, he stopped using earbuds like an idiot. I have some extras here for him though, so next time I send him a box, he'll be able to hear us when we walk away. But
nice. Good. Yes, new releases. So At the Mutants of Madness came out this month, and Resonant came out this month, which we talked about both of those last month. I think Seeds of Sand is now out and official, and that one seems to be moving pretty well. That's a great success story as far as like we just helped out with like the logistics of getting it printed and landed. All of the work that Sam had done previously on that was all him. But that one seems to be moving. People seem to be digging in and looking into a desert crawl. And then our monthly Forbidden Psalm, which was this month, this is April, so it was Mork Ball Season 2. And I do that face because I'm like, Mork Ball Season 2 is actually printed and in my apartment like 2 months ago. That's where we're pretty. We were talking earlier about Will, and like the man's a machine, and then he posts that stuff, and then we get stuff, and like right now we've got the May ones are here, and then next week the June ones are going to print. We've got it kind of timed out to where the same day that it goes for sale in our store, it's also available in your friendly local game store. Like we're working as closely, and I'm really trying to hit that with ACD as a distribution partner. Does it cut into us a little bit? Yes, but also I'm happier if someone was like, no, I literally got this at Game Store X, like 2 days before you guys announced it on your own web store. And I'm like, that's perfect. That's what I want. That's like, because we can talk and sell stuff to fan bases that, you've achieved via social media. So social marketing, Twitter, Facebook, IG, etc. Right? You can do that, but at some point, unless you're doing that, you're really pushing that growth, and getting out to people. I was talking to somebody the other day, like the best part, I was talking to Steve yesterday, the best part about going to a convention is most of those people at a convention have no idea what you're talking about when you say DCC. Even at GaryCon, there's still people, and GaryCon is like the most requested game there, like the most played game there. Like it's huge, right? But even there, well, I mean, after 5e, because there's a big 5e room there, but whatever.
Really?
Yeah, right. But like there are even people that go to like, because it's a small space, and you end up talking to just a bunch of random people, and they're like, yeah, I've never played DCC, and you're just like, this game's been out for like 12 years now, and you've never played it, like, and it's a D&D that it's a variation of D&D that you're gonna love, like, so Anyway, that's all my way of saying like pushing out and doing the outreach in the stores is the best part, is the key. So what's that?
This is some of the new DCC. I've never even cracked open the book to read it, but I have an entire shelf of DCC plus all of this. With the last thing that delivered, you know how they let you do an add-on for like every freaking thing ever? I went a little nuts and added on a lot of stuff. So I got all sorts of, I got the shelf holder thing for it. So it's actually contained. Got to get more of these suckers, but yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see my DCC?
Sure.
Yes.
This is the book that might make Ryan cry.
What that's cool for you. Yeah. I mean, it's not even really a book anymore at that point.
It is too. It's also tabbed. There's also inserts.
It looks
well
loved.
Of my copy of Dune that doesn't have a cover or anymore.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what? To each their own, you know?
It's got stickers all over it. Look at that.
I should put stickers on mine.
You guys, you do you know? I've gotten to the point now where I don't even take things out of the plastic anymore until I play with them so they don't get injured.
Just messing with you. To each their own. People do what they want to do. Like part of the business of making things, you know, part of the business of making things is and so, you know, and being a publisher is folks want to buy stuff, and like, hey, I'm the person who likes to buy stuff. I'm currently on a 6-month like not buying anything because my pile of books that I needed to read got huge and massive. I know I said earlier that there's a book sale at the used books or at the library. I'm setting a budget of $30 cash, and that's it. That's all I can spend this Saturday at the local library. Like I'm not allowed to spend more than that. And when I leave the house, I'm taking my wallet and $30 cash. That's it. And because I'll get all kinds of really good stuff for that, you know? So,
yeah. See, I have to remove things. So I have ADHD. Anyone that's listened probably couldn't tell that all three of us have pretty bad ADHD by the number of camps we take on a regular basis. But I have really bad object permanence. So if I don't have access to something, I'll just forget it exists. So how did I stop using Instagram? I just took it off my home screen and put it back with the regular apps, and suddenly I wasn't on it anymore. But I had to delete eBay because I couldn't stop buying fucking books. So not having the app and forcing myself to actually go through the web browser made it a lot harder, which means I don't do it as much. So I wish I could just hold myself to $30. That would be wonderful. But,
well, it's the public library, and so it's a used book sale, so they're probably going to say cash only. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Just leave my debit card at home. Know. But yeah, I mean, it's that. I was, like I said, I was totally just messing with you with my copy of DCC. It's the book that makes people cry because they're like, boom, and I was like, but that book is well loved. That I've had that book since. It's the second printing, so I've had it since 2014 was second printing, 13 or 14. It was, you know, it's seen a lot of 0 level characters, I'll tell you that, and some upper level characters.
But more 0 level characters.
More zeros than anything. To be honest.
We'll have to do it. I have two copies of the DCC rulebook. One is a brown one with like gold foiling or silver foiling, and then I got the Dying Earth one. That's something I want to dig into a little bit too. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm still really hoping that my mail gets delivered so I can show off those things. But did you want to talk about what's coming up next month, or do we want to do that next month?
Sure. No, next month is May, so we have East Brindos Spirit Night, which is the next in the Forbidden Psalm monthlies. It's another thin volume, 16 pager, but it's got a bunch of monsters from and legends from Welsh folklore. Will, the creator of Forbidden Psalm, for those who don't know, is Welsh. And so there's that. And then also will be 𝗖𝗁 𝗖𝗵𝘁 by 𝗙 𝗖𝗵𝘁𝗀. That was like, I was like, why is 𝗬𝗓 messaging me? I was like, oh, it's because my email's up over here, and it was for his newsletter, and I was like, what? 𝗖𝗁 𝗖𝗵𝘁𝗀 is a great game of magical girls, and I will talk more about that next month. We're actually gonna probably get to play it this weekend, maybe. But that too is in print in the house. Oh, I have a copy of that right by. Speaking of really cool, neat stuff, we got it spiral bound, like
I love the spiral
like a Lisa Frank notebook. I was talking to Shar this morning, and we were talking about, and I was just like, you made a Lisa Frank notebook, like, and it's so good. But yeah, so Magical Girls, for those familiar with it or not familiar with it, think, like the biggest touchstone for me in my personal book is Sailor Moon. I love some Sailor Moon. But there's a bunch of character generation, and you pick your avatar, and it's kind of like a big combat simulator. In the sense that most of those episodes of Sailor Moon specifically, and a lot of Magical Girl shows, are combat simulators where you have all the role playing part, and everyone's at school or everyone's doing this and that, and then there's always that big bad monster that you fight every week, and so there's rules for episodes and creations and stuff. So we're excited to see how it goes. Shar's has released the digital version, and a bunch of people are on board and are really super stoked and excited. I'm super excited and stoked. And we did soft touch lamb on the cover. I know a lot of people don't like soft touch, but we did soft touch to make it even more resilient. And we're talking about, if we get to go back for a second print, possibly making the cover even a little bit sturdier, a little bit thicker. I know. Do you two remember volume or and treasure?
Oh yes,
yeah,
right.
Talking volume about 2, yeah. Do I need
volume
to dig
2 Monsters In? Yeah. If you have it, that's fine. When we printed those, we had that clear acetate cover put over the top, and I don't know if Mixam offers that as an option. That's where we printed these at. But I didn't do it because I got the soft touch lamb, and it came out really good.
He's gonna find it. I don't have that one physically, actually. So,
gotcha. Man, I wish I would have known that. I actually had 2 copies of it, and I just sent the other one out randomly the other day. I would have sent it to you. I sent it out to somebody else.
I have a big binder that I printed at home. That's all of the Wolves Upon the Coast stuff. So
nice.
I have it in a spiral binder. But
nice. Hell yeah.
Paper. Yeah. I have a very DIY Wolves Upon the Coast setup here.
I'm using a bunch of spiral binders for my prep. I've got like 4 different binders for prep for that highway, for the uncanny highway crawl, because you have to have like your small town, and you have to have your small town newspaper, and your TV station, and your diner, and your drive-in, and your weather, and your ghostly hitchhikers, and all this stuff, so just a bunch of 3-ring binders. Anyway, 𝗖𝗁 𝗖𝗵𝘁𝗀 comes out next month, spiral bound, and the Shar's art is freaking amazing. Let me show you. Where's Gun? Where you at, Gun? Skates. Actually, Skates is a pretty good one too. Yep.
Somewhere. I built new bookshelves and still haven't filled them in, so everything's on the floor. I can tell you where it used to be. Can't tell you where it is though. Yeah.
Gun.
Also,
it's alphabetical. I couldn't find it. There we go. gun.
Boom.
Nice.
They just look badass.
Yeah.
They do. I love the cover. I threw the cover on stream so people can see it. It's just really fantastic. It's funny because I think for the last like 3 months, I've been like, Jared, I'm gonna buy the new releases this time. Is 𝗂𝗧 𝗖𝗵𝘁 out yet? And it's like it's not coming till April. Then like last month I was like, is it out yet? It's not coming till April. So very excited for that.
May. It's coming in
May. So this thing. Also from Charlotte was Celestial Bodies. They carried some of the ash cans over at oh my gosh. Why am I really completely blanking on this? I don't know if they still have some. Let me go back and I'm finding. I don't know why I'm completely blanking on this right now.
Spearwitch, Knave of Cups.
Nope. Peregrine Coast.
Oh, Peregrine. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So very excited for that. Also coming from Charlotte. The vibes in that are really good too, and that really made me want 𝗂𝗓 𝗖𝗵𝘁 even more. But yeah, very excited for their work. So yeah, it's cool. I'm back. So so question, and that's a question I've always had. What was the point of the plastic bit over the and?
Well, I mean, it was an option with the printer. We printed those at 𝗏𝗏 and it was placed in the UK, and they just offered that because it's not impossible to find places that will do that A6 size. But they offered that as an option, and if I remember correctly, they didn't have the option for matte lamination on the cover itself. So I just went with the clear acetate cover, which is kind of sharp. It gets stabby sometimes. It's kind of funny.
I like it. I feel like it's protecting the book, which of course I enjoy, which is nice. But I've always been curious because I've never received another TTRPG book that had that. So I was always curious what
Yeah.
And now I know. Now I should have just asked because I should have just known it was you.
Making weird stuff, just kind of seeing what happens. Like that's the fun part of a lot of what we do is, just a lot of what I've done is just like, can we do this? Let's see what happens. Like when I came to us about the boxed set, I was just like, let's do it. Let's make. I've worked with other companies and in other situations making stuff like that, but I've never done one myself. So.
Yeah, I'm so upset that I can't find stuff. It makes me mad when I don't know where every piece of the 10,000 pieces I have is. But we'll get it. Gosh, we did 25, 25, 25. What else do we have? I think
that's good. I think we should be free and we should go and enjoy a Friday, mostly because I need to go prep for the beginning of a Cairn campaign.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna go work out outside, so
I'm gonna go to bed because I got to work tonight. So that was look at we're getting smoother and smoother on this. We're amazing. We're killing it. And then our next Not Cat Chats 4. Had we planned that yet so we can let them know?
Yes, Friday, May 17th.
Boom. And then we're gonna have to sit down and plan some more after that. That's us when we have. So we will be talking on the 17th. We'll dig more into 𝗂𝗧 𝗖𝗵𝘁, some more Forbidden Psalm stuff, I'm sure, and getting updates on what's going on with Cairn 2E because the Kickstarter will be over by then.
And in the process. Next month, a thing I want to talk about too is more of about ACD and how distribution works, our experiences with it, because the weekend after the next Cat Chats, we'll be going up to Madison, Wisconsin to ACD Games Day, which is a big retailer meet and greet where we get to meet up to 250 retail store owners, and we get to be like, this is 𝗂𝗧 𝗖𝗵𝘁. It's about magical girls and it's got pixel art. And it's, when you explain to people, for us, it's normal to, this is going to retail at $30, but it's a game system and everything is in there. And yes, it's zine size and it's spiral bound. A lot of people are just like, how do you do that? And so it's our job when we go to ACD and Games Day to be like, so this is what you tell, because once once you get bit by that bug of small press and buying, I'm pointing to my shelf, I'm pointing to your shelf and to your shelf. Once you get bit by the bug and you see all the cool, neat stuff, you can find versions of that dream project and stuff like that, you know, like that dream thing that you've been seeing. And then the best part of it is too, is when you inspire somebody else who picked it up at a game store. Oh yeah, no, I picked that up at a game store and then I made my own. That's when we win. That's when we win, is when, you know, you win D&D by getting people to make stuff after they see the cool stuff that you did because you were inspired by somebody else's cool stuff. And it's just a big cycle, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
so I'm going to talk more about ACD and ACD Games Day and stuff like that and my understanding of how it works. So
sick.
Yeah.
Next month.
I'm excited for that. I know when you talk about all the behind the scenes distro stuff, my brain just starts like spinning, but it's really cool to hear how much, well, I guess cool to hear, but maybe not. I don't know if it's fun to have to go through all the levels, to have to level up and stuff.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun. A lot of times you're just like, you know, I mean, I don't not so jokingly say, I just want to can it all. Can we just stop and put this away, you know, and go back to day job? I mean, for reals. I applied at a Dunkin' the other day because I want to work part-time at a Dunkin' because I love Dunkin' Donuts so much. I want to see what it's like to be on the inside of a Dunkin' Donuts. I really do. And people are like, but don't you have a full-time job? And I was like, yeah, we've got the company and we do that. But I want to learn more about Dunks, plus free coffee and donuts, you know? And that's why I got started doing all this stuff, was because I didn't have the money to buy the books and games. And I started editing and doing stuff like that because I wanted to get those contributor copies of the stuff like that, you know? And then now, you know, 500 contributor copies on, I'm like, now let's just do this all the time, you know, like let's get more contribute copies to more people. So
there you go. So apparently in order to save money, I just need to start editing so that people will give me the books instead of having to buy 2 copies.
I hear you got something. I hear you got a little something cooking. So that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
We'll see what happens. So then, so that is our Not Cat Chats 3. That's our episode. And still not chatting cat too. But yeah, check us next month for Daisy Chainsaw, for ACD, for everything new from SPI, and I will have the copies from this month by then to show those off on stream too. So Jert, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Jert's camera.
Thank you for hanging out with us today, Jert's camera, and only fuck it up like once. Yep.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And Hunter, I
think we realize what it is. If I wave my hands like this, it's when it gets mad. See, I'm trying to make it do it now, and it's not going to do it.
It just doesn't.
It almost did for a second. Now it's mad that we're mad at it, so it won't do it.
Right.
Anyway, so Hunter, I will see you. I think maybe we might do two reviews next week. We'll see.
Yeah, 2 for next week.
Yeah, since we haven't done one in like 2 weeks. That's it. That's us. Jert, thank you. We'll see all you guys later. Bye.
Bye.